Hello, welcome students. Today in this session we are learning about the capacitance, capacitors and the relevant derivations we are discussing here. So the first concept here is the electrical capacitance of a conductor. Okay, we know that the conductor can be charged by imbalancing the charges, right? As the charges deposits more on the surface of conductor, its potential level also increases. So by using this concept, we can frame the definition for a capacitance. Okay, when an electric charge is given to the conductor, its potential increases, right? If Q is the charge given to the conductor, V is the increase in potential. Therefore, V proportional to Q. So as the number of charge increases on the conductor, the potential also increases. Now we can introduce the proportionality constant as a capacitance. We call it as a C. Okay. So here electrical capacitance of a conductor. It is reciprocal here, we can say. Okay. By using this concept, C is equal to Q by V. So from this definition, from this formula, we can define like one more type. It can be defined as the ratio of charge given to the conductor. Ratio of charge given to the conductor to the increase in potential. The ratio of charge, how much charge we given, okay, or what is the charge on the conductor, and after given the charge, how much is the increase in potential, that ratio we can call it as a capacitance. And the SI unit of capacitance is farad. So a capacitor, the conductors, once we charge the charges accumulated on its surface, right? So it stores the charges on its surface, right? That capacity, how much charge it can collect, okay, that we call as a capacitance here. That we can define like this in two ways. And we can measure the capacitance in terms of farad. This is the SI unit. Okay, usually in farad is a bigger unit. In smaller scale we use millifarad, microfarad, nanofarad, picofarad. These things we use in a smaller scales. Now let's observe the definition for a farad. The meaning of farad is, if I want to say the conductor stores 1 farad of capacitance, or the capacitor is of value 1 farad, the meaning is this. Observe the formula here. 1 coulomb by 1 volt means capacitance of a conductor is said to be 1 farad when 1 coulomb of charge given to it increase its potential by 1 volt. Okay, when you give a 1 coulomb of charge to the conductor, then its potential level increased by 1 volt. Then that capacitance we call it as a 1 farad. This is the definition of 1 farad. This one we taken from this formula only. The capacitance, if I want to say 1 farad, then Q should be a 1 coulomb and V means the potential, it should be a 1 volt. The next concept here is capacitor. Okay, we study the capacitance. Capacitance is nothing but a phenomenon, but capacitors, these are the devices. Okay, so it is a system of two conductors separated by an insulator or dielectric. We studied the dielectric types. Those dielectrics we are using here to prepare a capacitor. We can also say the capacitor definition like this. It is a device which can store the charges, okay, and hence electrostatic energy. Okay, so this is a capacitor definition. Capacitor means it is a device or it is a system of two conductors separated by insulator. Okay, capacitance is nothing but phenomenon it is. Capacitor is also called as, with another name, we call it as a condenser. Capacitor can also be called as a condenser. Next, the circuit symbol of a capacitor. You can see here the first diagram, the circuit symbol here, the two parallel plates. One is of positively charged and another is a negatively charged. Okay, both are parallel and equal in heights. Okay, don't vary the heights of this two plates. It must be equal and parallel. So this is for a fixed capacitance. Capacitor with a fixed value of capacitance. Suppose if it is a variable value, then we can show like this with an arrow mark. You can see an arrow mark here. Okay, that arrow mark indicates that variable capacitance. That means we can vary the capacitance of that capacitor. Okay, these are the circuit symbol usually we use in a circuit diagrams when we are drawing a capacitor. Now let's study the very interesting thing about the capacitance of a spherical conductor. Okay, spherical conductor, you are observing here there is a sphere, or we can also take an example as a earth. Okay, earth is also a conductor, like it's like a conductor. All the charges accumulate on the surface of the earth. By using this small formula, we can calculate what is the capacitance of the earth, okay, as a conductor, how much charge it can store over its surface, that we can calculate by using this formula. Now observe the spherical body. You can imagine earth or any spherical conductor. Okay, it is charged, plus you can see here it is charged and it is having the radius r. By the definition, C is equal to Q by V here, right? This is from the definition. Q divided by, what is the V? V is nothing but the potential. Because of these charges, how much the potential on this surface. Therefore, V becomes, so 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q by R. The potential formula it is, we studied in previous classes, right? Here Q and Q will get cancelled. Then we get this denominator by denominator term will go to the numerator. It will become C is equal to 4 pi epsilon naught R. That means if you know the radius of that spherical body or spherical object or the earth radius, then it is very easy to find out the capacitance of that spherical body. So the formula is C is equal to 4 pi epsilon naught R. Okay, this is when this body is placed in a air. So we are using epsilon naught. If it is in any other medium, we can introduce the constant, we can multiply epsilon R. Okay, epsilon R we can multiply for that. Here we see that in general C is equal to 4 pi epsilon naught epsilon R R. That means epsilon R is a dielectric constant, or we call it as a relative permittivity, okay, of the medium surrounded of the conductor. Next, there are certain types. Just we saw that spherical conductors or spherical capacitor we call it as. That is a formula for a spherical conductors, okay, to find out the capacitance. Now let's study about the parallel plate capacitor. For the curriculum, this is the most important thing, okay. As per the board syllabus, the parallel plate capacitor is the most important one. A parallel plate capacitor consists of two metal plates. You can see in a picture here, right? There are two metal plates parallel to each other and separated by a small distance. Okay, one is positively charged, another is negatively charged. You can observe there is an electric field, okay, from positive plate to negative plate. That is the electric field direction, and negative plate is grounded here, and the two plates distance is d. If we kept the two charged plates with a small distances, so then we can call it as a parallel plate capacitor. Now let's find out what is the capacitance of this combination of two plates or a parallel plate capacitor. Expression for capacitance of parallel plate capacitor without dielectric medium. I am not using any dielectric medium here. Suppose we can say that air, okay, let it be some air, because the dielectric constant of air is 1, right? For air it is, and let it be like a free space also, but we are solving under the condition without a dielectric medium. Let's derive it. At the beginning we know that the capacitance definition, C is equal to Q by V, right? And electric field between the plates is E is equal to V by D. How we got this? E is equal to V by D. Do you remember the relationship between the potential and the field minus dV by dx? We derived it. Correct? We derived this relation E is equal to minus dV by dx. From this concept we are using this. For this particular situation, it is the electric field is nothing but the ratio of potential to the distance, right? So the potential V divided by the distance between the two plates. Okay, so this we are using. For this particular situation, the negative sign is not required. So when we derived, the negative sign was there. But in this situation, just we are taking the ratio of these two things. And now, these two are the metal plates. Like a plane sheet cases, we derived from the Gauss law. Okay, to find out the electric field obtained from the charged plane sheet by using the Gauss law. Okay, for the two thin charged plates. For the one plane sheet, we got the formula like E is equal to sigma by 2 epsilon naught. Right? This is for a one plate. Since there are two plates, we have to add the two values. E is equal to sigma by 2 epsilon naught plus sigma by 2 epsilon naught. Okay, once again I am telling you this. These formulas came from the derivation of the electric field due to a plane sheet, charged plane sheet. We obtained it by using the Gauss law. Okay, that was the derivation. We proved this. There was only one plate, but here there are two plates, so we are adding the two values. Understand? When you add the two values, you will get this sigma by epsilon naught. You can take this off as a common, or the sigma by epsilon naught as a common. Off plus off becomes 1. So that is sigma by epsilon naught. And in next step, by comparing the equation 2 and 3, from 2 and 3, we can equate this electric fields equation, right? V by D is equal to sigma by epsilon naught. First find out the potential value, V value, cross multiply this, okay, sigma D by epsilon naught. This becomes a equation 4. Now substitute in a equation 1. That equation 1 is a C is equal to Q by V, okay. In this substitute the V value, sigma D by epsilon naught. Understood? Then it will become epsilon naught will go to numerator, Q epsilon naught by sigma D. But we know that sigma is a surface charge density. Sigma is equal to Q by A, charge per unit area. Therefore, Q is equal to sigma A. Okay, so now I am replacing this Q value with a sigma A. Substitute the sigma A here, epsilon naught, sigma D. Now sigma and sigma get cancelled. We got A epsilon naught D. Okay, so C is equal to epsilon naught A by D. This is without dielectric medium. Right? Between the two plates, we are not considering any other medium. Suppose if there is any other medium, then we can use this formula. See, just we can multiply epsilon R. The epsilon R is called as a dielectric constant or the relative permittivity of the medium. So this is with the dielectric medium. This is without dielectric medium. Yeah, by looking at the above formula that C is equal to epsilon naught A by D or epsilon naught A by D, we can tell that on what factors the capacitance of a parallel plate capacitor depends and how it depends, right? The capacitance of a parallel plate capacitor, the first one is directly proportional to area of each plate, right? C is directly proportional to A. Directly proportional to A. That means as the area of each metal plate increases, then the capacitance of that system will be more. And it is inversely proportional to distance between the plates, right? Inversely proportional in the formula, it is at the denominator. That means as the distance between the plates increases, then it can store, its capacitance is less. It can store less number of charges. And it is directly proportional to dielectric constant. You can see in this formula epsilon R is a dielectric constant, right? So it is directly proportional to dielectric constant. So very important question, on what factors the capacitance of a parallel plate capacitor depends. This you can tell through the capacitance formula of the parallel plate capacitor. C is equal to epsilon naught A by D. Now check the next one. Now expression for relative permittivity. Okay, that means the dielectric constant we are giving in terms of capacitances. The first capacitance in the free space or in a air we taken like this Ca. A stands for air or in a free space. Epsilon naught A by D. Okay, because for air the epsilon R becomes 1. So we are not considering it as a medium. Just like for a free space in the air, the value is 1. So Ca is epsilon naught A by D, and for any other medium, Cm means M is a medium, epsilon naught A by D. Just divide these two equations. When you divide the two equations, or the 2 by 1, Cm by Ca is equal to R. That means Cm is equal to epsilon R into Ca, where epsilon R is a dielectric constant of any other medium. It may differ from medium to medium. So this is the relationship between the C medium, the C air or in free space, and the dielectric constant. Yeah, the next fact, next important point on the capacitor is how much energy it can store. How to calculate that energy. Energy is stored in a capacitor that we are going to find out now. Derive an expression for energy stored in a capacitor. You are observing there is a capacitor, one single capacitor we connected to your battery. Okay, so when you connect it to your battery, from the battery all the charges get discharged, and here initially before connecting the capacitor is completely nil. Okay, no charges are deposited on it. When you connected the battery, the capacitor become charged, right? Like you can compare with our cell phone battery. Okay, initially it is at the 0. When you give the power supply, it stores the charges. Okay, in the same way, just you can compare this capacitor. Initially there was a 0, and the small amount of charges will get added bit by bit. Okay, it takes some time. So then later it reaches the maximum. Okay, maximum value. Then the capacitor is said to be full charged, right? So then at that particular situation, from 0 to the maximum level of the charge, what is the total energy stored in it? Okay, so that we are going to find out now. When a battery is connected across an uncharged capacitor, you are connecting a battery. Okay, the charge transfers from one plate to another plate of the capacitor. Very important. Okay, charge transfers from one plate to another plate bit by bit, means in a small amount, we call it as a dq, bit by bit dq. Now consider an intermediate situation, neither the minimum nor the maximum. Okay, intermediate situation when charges on the plates are small q's. One is a plus q here, one is a minus q there. Okay, then at this stage the potential difference between the plates, because charges only flows when there is a potential difference. Okay, for that reason only we connected the battery here, to maintain the potential difference. When you maintain the potential difference, the some amount of charges going to transfer from one plate to another plate by the small amount, right? So consider an intermediate situation here. At this case, the potential difference becomes V dash. Just I am taking as a V dash, intermediate situation, Q by C. From the formula of capacitance, Q by V, okay, I can write it as a V dash as a Q by C. Now for transferring the small amount of charge dQ, the work done required, the small amount of work done is required to transfer the small amount of charges dQ. Therefore, from the definition of V is equal to W by Q, this is we studied from electric potential definition, right? Potential is equal to W by Q, work done per unit charge. Okay, from that formula we can write this, dW is equal to V dash. Since the previous equation I taken as a V dash, I am taking it as a V dash. Here it is dQ, because I am moving the charge dQ. The work done is small work done, so it is dW. Therefore dW is equal to V dash. Substitute this value, Q by C dQ. Now find out the total work done. The total work done in transferring the charge from Q is equal to 0 to Q is equal to Q. You can see in the picture that initially I said initially there was no charge on the capacitor. When you created the potential difference, when you supply the battery connection, okay, then it reaches the maximum value. right? So we taken the minimum value as a 0 and the maximum value as a capital Q. So the total work done means we have to integrate the above equation, integrate it from 0 to Q limit, okay, 0 to Q, substitute the value here in place of dW, Q by C dQ, 1 by C is a constant, Q and dQ, okay, here Q is a variable. If you integrate the Q by using the integration formula x power n, integration of x power n dx, x power n plus 1 by n plus 1. By using this formula, okay, we can integrate for the q as a q square by 2. So and the limit is 0 to q. 1 by c is a constant. Okay, so this is what we got here. In the next step, we have to substitute the upper limit and then the lower limit. Upper limit, we have to substitute the capital Q in place of small q, and the lower limit, we have to substitute the 0 here. Yeah, now the total work done equation becomes q square by 2c. Because you substituted the upper limit, it has a value, maximum value. The lower limit value becomes 0. That's simply a 0 it is. Okay. And this work done stored in a capacitor as electric potential energy. Okay. This work done stored in capacitor as a electric potential energy. Right. So that we can use the symbol as a U is equal to q square by 2c. Just I am replacing W by U. And this we can also write it as a half CV square. Right? So how we can write this? Observe this Q square. We know that formula C is equal to Q by V. Then Q is equal to CV. Okay. If you substitute the CV value here, it becomes C square V square. Then their C and C get cancelled. You will get half CV square. By substituting the Q as CV here in this formula, you will get the half CV square. Okay. So this is the energy, potential energy stored in a capacitor. Very most important it is. Okay. Yeah. The next one is the combination of capacitors. The capacitors can be connected like a n number of capacitor, the 2 capacitor, 3 capacitor, whatever the number it is, it can be connected in two ways. The first connection is in series, the next connection is in parallel. Okay, what is the meaning of capacitors in series? The capacitors are said to be connected in series when they are connected end to end, means one capacitor end should link to the another capacitor end. Okay, that means one capacitor positive plate, we have a capacitors here like this, right? One is of positive plate, negative plate, another is also having positive and negative plate. One capacitor negative plate and another capacitor positive plate. Okay, if it connected like this, then we can call it as a series connection. The positive plate of a one capacitor connected to negative plate of the other capacitor. Okay, it goes on. So this combination we called as a series combination. So in such combination, okay, in series combination, the potential differences are different across each capacitor. Okay, the potential differences are different, but the charge is same on each capacitor. So these are the two important points we should remember in the series connection. Okay, when you connected the capacitors in series combination, the potential difference values on each capacitors are different. It may take like V1, V2, okay, V1, V2, V3, V4 like that. But the charge on each capacitor will be same. The charge on each capacitor is same. So since the potential differences are different, we can just add the total potential difference across the combination, across the whole combination is equal to the sum of the potential difference across each other. That means V is equal to V1 plus V2 so on up to N. So in series combination, you should remember these 3 points. The first thing is end-to-end connection. The next one is potential difference across each capacitors are different, and the total potential is the sum of all the individual potentials, and charge on each capacitor is same, remains same. This is the series combination. The next combination is parallel combination. Okay, you can see in a picture capacitors are connected like this. Okay, the positive plates are connected to one terminal, one common terminal, the positive plates, and the negative plates are connected to another common terminal. So like this we can connect n number of capacitors between two common terminals. When you connect it between two common terminals, here the potential differences are same on each capacitor, but the charges are different. You can see here the Q1 and Q2. Okay, charges are different now. The potential difference is same. It is just opposite to the series connection. Okay, now check the definition. Capacitors are said to be connected in parallel when they are connected between two common points. Okay, like this. Between two common points, the number of capacitors can be connected, such that here the potential difference across each capacitor is same as the applied across combination. Across this combination, how much we apply, so that will be the same. You can see in a picture, see across the combination we supply the battery voltage V. The same will be there across these two capacitors. This is a parallel combination. Okay, so here potential difference across each capacitor is same, but the charges are different. So that we can write it as the total charge will be the sum of all individual charges. Total charge stored in a combination is equal to sum of the charges on each capacitor. Okay, the parallel combination, you should remember these 3 points. The capacitors are connected between two common points and the potential difference is same across each capacitor, but the charges are different. Okay, charges are different here for each capacitor. Yeah, now let's study the very important concept on the series and parallel combination. Okay, the first one, the derive an expression for equivalent or effective capacitance of two capacitors in series. Okay, when we connected the two capacitors in series, we have to find what is the equivalent capacitance for that. Okay, equivalent means it is a single capacitor, okay, or the single capacitance which can replace these two combinations. Okay, so what is a value which can replace the single value? So which can replace the two capacitors or two capacitance values, that we have to find now. Okay, so as we know that these two capacitors are in series, you can see here the positive plate of the one capacitor connected to negative plate of the other. Okay, and the potential differences are different, V1 and V2, and the charges are same for each capacitor. So it is in series combination. As we look at the diagram, and these two capacitors can be replaced with a single capacitance or the effective equivalent. In the series combination we call it as a CS. CS is the equivalent capacitance in series combination, the symbol is. Okay, so this is connected to your same battery here having the same potential difference, and the charge on the equivalent is Q. We call this as a equivalent circuit. I shown here the equivalent mark. Okay, both are equal, just I replaced these two values by a single value. Okay, as we know that in series combination, potential difference, the total potential difference across the combination is equal to sum of the two individual potentials, right? V is equal to V1 plus V2. I am using only the two capacitors, so it is V1 plus V2. If it's n number of capacitor, you can take up to Vn. Okay, now from the definition of the capacitance, C is equal to Q by V, right? This is our definition. From this we can write V1 is equal to Q by C1, V2 is Q by C2. I am not using Q1 and Q2 because Q's are same. Okay, only the different things are C1, C2 and V1, V2. Now substitute these V1 and V2 values in equation 1. So this is the equation 1. Okay, after substitution V1 and V2, take the Q common, 1 by C1 plus 1 by C2. So call it as a equation 2. So this is the equation we've obtained for this circuit. Now for an equivalent circuit, if the combination is replaced by an equivalent capacitor, this capacitance value CS, then for the equivalent circuit also we have the values V is equal to Q by Cs, right? Again from the same formula, C is equal to Q by V. From the definition of capacitance, we can write this Q by Cs. Now compare equation 2 and 3. Okay. On comparing the equation 2 and 3, LHS are same. So you can equate the RHS values. Q by Cs is equal to this Q into 1 by C1 plus 1 by C2. Q and Q get cancelled. Therefore 1 by Cs is equal to 1 by C1 plus 1 by C2. Okay. So this is the equivalent capacitance. We can say that the reciprocal of the equivalent capacitance is equal to the sum of the reciprocals of two individual capacitances. So this is the important formula to calculate the equivalent capacitance, okay, when those two capacitors are in series combination. Suppose n capacitors are connected in series, then we get 1 by Cs is equal to the reciprocals up to 1 by Cn. So what you can observe from this is, in series combination, the reciprocal of effective capacitance, this is the reciprocal of effective capacitance, is equal to the sum of the reciprocals of the capacitances of individual capacitor. Okay, just I am explaining this formula in words. Okay, that's it. And the next point is the effective capacitance, very important. Okay, the effective capacitance is lower than the lowest of the individual capacitance. The effective capacitance value always comes least than the lowest of these individual capacitors. Okay, if I take any capacitor value, like I am taking here the one capacitor as a 1 farad, and the next one is 2 farad, next one is 3 farad. All are connected in series. Okay, when you connected in a series, the lowest value is the 1, and the effective capacitance value is still lower than this 1 farad. That is the meaning of this. Okay, the effective capacitance cannot come greater than this 1 farad. Okay, the lowest value is 1 only. The effective capacitance value comes still lesser than this lowest value. Understood? Yeah, that is the meaning of this point. Suppose if n identical capacitors, each of capacitance C, n identical, okay, means all are like 1 farad, 1 farad, 1 farad, n numbers, or 2 farad, 2 farad, 2 farad, 2 farad, n numbers connected. Okay, then you can use this formula, the shortcut formula. We can say Cs is equal to C by n. Okay, how much capacitors are connected? Suppose the 2 farad capacitors are in 100 numbers. Okay, 2 farad capacitors, you connected 100 numbers in series. Then what is the effective value? Okay, for that we cannot use the above formula here, right? Because 100 capacitor. So it's just like a shortcut formula. The capacitance value is 2 and there are n means 100 capacitors. Then its value becomes 1 by 50. Okay, 1 by 50 farad, we can say. That is the equivalent or the effective capacitance value. This formula is applicable only when n identical. Observe, it should be an identical capacitor. Okay, and we already have a formula for 2 capacitors, just as a LCM format it is. Okay, for the 2 capacitor, from the derivation we derived that 1 by Cs, 1 by C1, 1 by C2. After solving this, you will get the Cs value like this by cross multiplying, by taking an LCM. Okay, it can be written as a C1 C2 by C1 plus C2. In numericals, we almost use this formula. Okay, instead of this, because here you get the direct value for the effective capacitance. Here you get the reciprocal value of the capacitance. Okay, usually question comes to find out the capacitance, effective capacitance direct value, not the reciprocal value in the numericals. So we almost use for the 2 capacitors the formula C1 C2 by C1 plus C2. Yeah, the next derivation is in the parallel combination. Derive an expression for effective capacitance of 2 capacitors in parallel As you see in a picture, these two are in parallel combination. It is connected between the two common points here, two common terminals. Okay, Q1 and Q2 are the charges on it. It is different, but the potential differences across the combination is same. Okay, so this is the parallel, and these two parallel combination of two capacitor can be replaced with a single capacitor, okay, in the parallel. So we call it as a equivalent capacitor or equivalent capacitance value, that is CP. Okay, CP means equivalent capacitance value in parallel. So this is an equivalent circuit. So now we have to find what is the equivalent value in the parallel combination. Okay, yeah, in parallel combination, as per the definition, here the charges are different, right? The total charge becomes Q1 plus Q2. But from the formula of capacitance, we can write this Q1 is equal to C1V, because C is equal to Q by V, right? Therefore, Q1 becomes C1V and Q2 is C2V. Since the V are the same values, right? It's not a V1 and V2. And substitute the Q1 and Q2 value in the equation 1. Substitute C1V plus C2V. Take the V common out and C1 plus C2. Call it as a equation 2. Now for the equivalent circuit, in the same way we can write the Q is equal to CPV, right? For the equivalent circuit, Q is equal to CPV. On comparing the equation 2 and 3, we get, okay, CPV is equal to V into C1 plus C2. So here V get cancelled and we got CP is equal to C1 plus C2. It's just sum of the two individual values, okay? Then you will get the, what is the effective value of the capacitance in the parallel combination. So in parallel combination, just you can add all the individual capacitances. So if n capacitor comes in parallel, just you can keep adding them, okay? C1 plus C2 plus C3 so on up to Cn to get the CP value. So in parallel combination, from this formula we can tell that equivalent capacitance is the sum of the individual capacitances. Right? Hence, the effective capacitance is greater. Always it comes greater. Right? Because we are adding all the individuals. Greater than the greatest of the individual capacitance. Greater than the greatest. Suppose if I take 1 farad, 2 farad, 3 farad in parallel. Here the greatest one is the 3. Right? And if you add them, of course you will get the 6 farad. So this is the equivalent value. The equivalent value always greater than the greatest of the individual capacitance. Okay. And if n identical capacitor comes in parallel, then we can use this formula. It's applicable only for the n identical. Suppose 2 farad, 2 farad, 2 farad are connected in 100 in numbers in parallel, then it is 100 into 2. That's it. Okay, yeah. So this ends the concepts of the capacitance. Okay, so this completes the second chapter theoretical part. So in the next class we discuss the numericals of the potential and capacitances. Thank you.